What's up guys, with the release of the full Final Fantasy VII Rebirth demo, there is no better time than now to focus on learning exactly how to play Cloud Strife. This video will be the first of many covering the basics on Cloud as well as the rest of the playable roster, with more advanced guides planned to be released in the future, so stay tuned for that. With that out of the way, let's get started. For Cloud's gameplay, it has evolved in a variety of different ways from Final Fantasy VII Remake, but he still functions with two different modes that he can switch between. By default, Cloud always starts in Operator mode, which is his more balanced combat style. In Rebirth, Cloud's basic attack combo in Operator mode is still performed by hitting square 5 times in succession. However, if you hold square at any point during his attack string, or right at the end, Cloud will follow it up with a sweeping AOE attack that will draw enemies light enough closer to him. If you opt to start the attack string by holding square, it will instead cause Cloud to perform a 2-hit combo that carries right into the sweeping attack. Alongside his basic combos now being buffed, dodging has now also become more powerful. In Remake, there was a materia called Deadly Dodge that enabled the character equipped with it to execute an attack immediately after dodging. In Rebirth, Cloud now has this ability by default whenever he performs a dodge, without the materia being equipped. While performing a dodge, Cloud now has the ability to shoot fast-traveling blade beams that tracks towards his enemies by tapping square. This attack can have up to 4 blade beams shot at his target before Cloud then lunges forward. The last blade beam also does multiple hits before disappearing, in a similar manner to how Aerith's Tempest attack from FF7 Remake works. This attack is great at damaging enemies from a safe distance, and can also be performed in the air. Now, if you instead hold square while performing a dodge, Cloud will leap into the air at his target with a multi-hit attack, which will be your go-to option for engaging in aerial combat. While in the air, Cloud will be able to perform a standard attack chain to damage foes, launch blade beams, and even perform abilities. You can also make Cloud stay in the air for an insane amount of time by dodging in any direction, so it can be a good idea to continuously mix in dodging during your attack string. On the other hand, if you simply prefer to instantly return down to the ground, just press your dodge button with no direction being held on the control stick. Next up is Cloud's more offensive-oriented style known as Punisher mode. Attacking in this mode by tapping square will have Cloud doing his Disorder attack from Final Fantasy VII Remake, followed up by a rapid succession of horizontal slashes that covers a wide area. At any time during the attack string, or by itself, you can hold square to have Cloud perform a 2-hit combo that results in him slamming his sword into the ground, which will grant him the Berserker status effect. While Cloud has this effect, he will deal out more stagger pressure, as well as a 30% increase to both his damage dealt and his damage received for 10 seconds. Generally, it's best to use this when you are the one on the offensive to maximize your damage output. As a side note, keep in mind that while in Punisher mode, Cloud moves around far slower, but you can quickly switch out of this mode by executing a dodge. Punisher mode can also be switched to while in the air, but by doing this, you will quickly end your airtime due to Cloud performing a falling sword attack. Another key aspect of Punisher mode is the ability to parry and counter any physical attacks thrown your way, but do remember this will not work against range attacks and magic spells. In order to parry in Punisher mode, you simply need to hold down your block button before an enemy's attack can make contact with you. If successful, Cloud will perform a single counterattack that generates solid damage and increases the target's stagger gauge. Now, a more advanced way of executing the parry counterattack is by hitting triangle to change Cloud's mode right before a physical attack can connect with you. If done properly, Cloud will respond with a counterattack identical to the one he performs while holding his guard up in Punisher mode. Doing it this way can be advantageous, since you don't have to be in Punisher mode to execute it, and you can quickly do it during frantic moments in combat. As far as the timing window for this parry, you need to make sure the incoming attack will hit Cloud during the moments he has this white aura around him while switching modes. If you want to go even further beyond, then with the right timing, it is possible to land a perfect parry that will make Cloud immune to damage during a counterattack, and will have him follow up with a flurry of sword swings that resembles his attack animation in Punisher mode, while also granting increased stagger pressure to the enemy. Along with learning the timing of these perfect parries, it is important to learn the timing on how to execute precision blocking as well as perfect dodges to drastically improve your defensive skills in Rebirth. Moving on, Cloud comes equipped with 3 returning abilities and one that's brand new. It's generally a good idea to assign these abilities to shortcuts via the battle settings menu for a more seamless experience during combat and for executing combos much smoother. The first of Cloud's abilities is Braver. This move costs 1 meter of ATB and features Cloud leaping into the air before slamming his sword down onto his target. This ability is best used to apply high damage when your target is staggered and also when a group of targets are bunched up together, since it will hit all enemies in a small area around where the sword is slammed down. Braver can also be used while Cloud is in the air, which will increase its damage output, so take every opportunity to execute Braver while airborne. The next ability is Focus Thrust. This move also costs 1 meter of ATB and has Cloud performing a lunge attack that can hit multiple foes. This ability is best used to quickly build a target's stagger gauge, especially when the enemy is in a pressured state. This move can also be used to gather up multiple enemies and move them in a specific direction or into a wall. Cloud's third ability in the demo is Triple Slash. This is another move that costs 1 meter of ATB and involves Cloud doing 3 quick traveling slashes that automatically tracks to either a single target or multiple. Landing this on multiple enemies will increase its damage output, and it can also be used while in the air. This ability is easily one of my go-to options at the start of battle, and also when I'm preparing a high damaging combo for an enemy. And finally, Cloud's fourth and brand new ability is Firebolt Blade. This move costs 1 meter of ATB and features Cloud doing a series of quick elemental attacks consisting of lightning then fire. This ability is great at applying pressure on enemies, especially if they have an elemental weakness to lightning or fire, and it can also be used while in the air. Now, we will go over Cloud's synergy skills. When in control of Cloud and Sephiroth is in your party, you will have access to Void Shatter. Like all synergy skills, it requires no ATB to use it, but in order to use it at its full power, you need this move to be charged up for roughly 2 seconds. If you use this attack without any charge time, it will result in an attack that is very weak and produces an excellent stagger on its target. With a full charge, however, it will push an insane amount of stagger on an enemy, especially if they are in the pressure state along with some heavy damage. This attack does also cover a wide area around Cloud, so if enemies are grouped up close together and you have the time to charge this up, don't hesitate to use it. Next up is Counterfire. This skill is purely built to give you a strong way to deal with ranged or magical attacks. Whenever the enemy uses these type of attacks, Counterfire will make Cloud immune to damage and follow up with a strong counterattack. If you have the option, always use this move when dealing with boss enemies that have very powerful projectiles or spells. Spellblade is a skill that Cloud will have access to whenever he is with Aerith. Like Void Shatter, this move requires some charge time before using it, but once it's ready, it will unleash a powerful magical attack that has Cloud slamming his sword down onto the ground, resulting in a wave of energy traveling in a straight line. This attack has great range, so you do not need to be right next to your target to land it, just be lined up. With Tifa in the party, Cloud can use Power Queen. This skill also requires charge time and again has Cloud slamming his sword onto the ground, releasing a powerful blast of physical damage around him. This move's range doesn't rival Spellblade's, but it does cover a wide area directly in front of Cloud. Bullet Batter is accessed whenever Barret is with you. Using this skill has Cloud launching up to 3 ranged physical attacks that works well for a quick range option and also to juggle light enough enemies into the air. This skill can also be activated while airborne, which can help mix up your air-to-air combat options. If Cloud is with Red 13, he will be able to use Howling Smash. For the skill, it works in a very similar way to Bullet Batter, with the exception that it involves Cloud shooting off a magical attack. Don't always feel you have to use all 3 bursts of this skill, since it's best to always evaluate the situation before getting too carried away with blindly spamming. As for powerful synergy abilities, in the demo, Cloud has access to 5. When Cloud is paired with Aerith, they can use Firework Blade. This ability produces a very respectable amount of damage and raises both of her limit levels by 1. Limit levels are important to increase in order to access more powerful limit breaks. For example, Cross Slash is Cloud's level 1 limit break, whereas Ascension is a level 2 limit break. Relentless Rush is unlocked with Tifa. This ability is great for closing distance on an enemy and packs a punch. To increase this ability's power, make sure to use it against staggered enemies, since it will increase the duration that they are staggered for. Partners in Pain is used with Barret. Like the 2 previous abilities, this one pushes out some high damage, and also increases both characters' limit levels. Savage Assault is available with Red 13. This ability also works to increase both characters' limit levels by 1, while providing some serious damage. When the opportunity comes to team up with Sephiroth, Cloud can access the Double Helix ability. This powerful move raises Cloud's limit level while also granting Sephiroth unlimited MP. Finally, there is Cloud's 2 limit breaks that he brings with him from Final Fantasy VII Remake in Cross Slash and Ascension. Both of these are very high damaging moves that carry super armor and of course give you the most damage when used on a staggered enemy. And that covers the basics of Cloud Strife in Rebirth. In the next series of videos, I'll be doing additional basic guides on more of the playable roster, so stay locked in for that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.